It either makes her a hypocrite or me a moron. And I don't think she's a hypocrite. Dude, LA's a gem, isn't it? It's more Detroit than...
For those of you who don't know, I moved from California to Virginia about 8 months ago. I'd never lived anywhere besides California, my small hometown of Bakersfield, which I don't recommend going to unless you like dirt, smog, and heat. So JP came out with this video a while ago. I'm a little behind, but it sparked my interest, and it's called What It's Like Living in California Now. And I feel like as a Californian myself, I should be able to kind of decide whether this is accurate or not, which I'm a little nervous about because I moved away from California for many, many, many reasons. So here we go. Let's see what JP has to say about what it's like living in California. The content of it is usually so accurate that it hurts. All right, here we go. JP, what you got for us?
Hi, I'm living in the world's largest prison. It's called California. No, seriously, it's been kind of getting a bad rap lately, but I assure you, it's never been better living in California. The freedom-suppressing theme that's strong in California is so fashionable right now. The communists like lockdowns, wear a mask everywhere you go, stay off the beach orders. They basically have a put yourself in the body bag now order.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so this came out in 2020, I believe. It came out 2 years ago, probably 21. Yeah, I feel like California got hit the hardest when it came to like quarantines and restrictions and laws. Yeah, we couldn't even go on the beach. We couldn't go outside.
They basically have a put yourself in the body bag now order. So progressive. I understand why California has such a large prison population. People are trying to get in just to have a little freedom. But I wouldn't want that because freedom's dangerous.
People are trying to get in just to have a little freedom. Goodness gracious.
It has such a large prison population. People are trying to get in just to have a little freedom. But I wouldn't want that because freedom's dangerous based on what my North Korean Cali propaganda has told me to think. There's a gold rush of opportunity in California right now. Yeah, you can't work here, which means you can't spend your time earning money, which means you can spend your time panning for gold. Guaranteed riches. People say we have a problem with homelessness here. Completely untrue. We are having no problem growing it at exponential rates.
We're having no problem growing it at, we don't have a problem. We're growing it great. Oh my gosh. And yes, I know he's being facetious. I'm not taking it seriously, but I'm just saying like, oh man, the homeless is so bad. That's the crazy thing. I feel like living in Virginia, I've seen maybe 1 or 2 homeless people, if even. And in California, you see them on pretty much every 20 feet when you're driving, which is so heartbreaking. But they're not doing anything to fix it. Ooh, I told you, this is hard for me to watch because it just gets me all...
We have a problem with homelessness here? Completely untrue. We are having no problem growing it at exponential rates.
True.
Seeing tent cities all over the place? It's basically camping. People enjoying the wilderness. It's good for you.
Camping.
I think we need more of it. And the fact that we allow them to take over our sidewalks, parks, and other public places so the tax-paying public can't use those public places makes us as loving and accepting as a spineless doormat. I, for one, don't want to raise my kids in a place where they don't have to walk across human feces and needles just to get to their front door.
It's true.
How else would they learn about hepatitis C? The high California tax.
It is so true. There is feces on the ground everywhere. Everywhere. Like there have been firefighters who have to go around cleaning it up because that's how bad it's gotten.
In a place where they don't have to walk across human feces and needles just to get to their front door? How else would they learn about hepatitis C? The high California taxes are a joy. Getting to pay the most to live in the worst conditions
Love that.
only means one thing. I'm smart and our politicians know what they're doing. Taking an exorbitantly high amount of income and getting junk in return kind of makes it seem like our politicians are running a giant pyramid scheme.
Dumb. You
And
guys
we
are
all know
dumb.
pyramids are the most stable structures on earth. But now I don't have to worry about the state income tax because the state won't let me work. I have no income. My kids are getting really hungry. Is that a problem? But you know who will have to pay more taxes? California's top earners. The state legislature has proposed a tax hike that would take 54% of the income from California's top earners. Genius! You
So
already
smart.
have the highest state income tax, so then you make it higher in order to pay for the state of disaster you've created. Get this, California's top earners account for 40% of the state tax revenue, and people with no financial sense speculate that if the tax hike was passed into law, California's wealthiest people would leave the state so they didn't have to give away 54% of their income. If that happened, that means the state's brilliant way of trying to get more money would actually result in them getting less money.
Crazy.
40% less, actually.
Ooh,
But that
that's a
won't
big drop.
happen. They're not gonna leave the state even though they already are, because here's the thing. Wealthy people don't wanna keep the money they earn. Yeah, they don't feel like they deserve it. And get
Okay, to be fair, I'm definitely not a wealthy person. Last week I had $65 in my bank account. That's all. But living in California is ridiculously expensive. Even if you live in a bottom level, like crappy life, like a crappy quality of life, it's so expensive. And I highly recommend moving. If you live there, get out.
Gavin Newsom's at the top of his game. What's the most intelligent way to respond to a disease that carries a 99.96% survival rate? Create poverty and despair. Don't let people open their businesses and don't let people work. It's a good plan to help strengthen the homeless
I can't believe
population.
That was a thing.
Most governors wouldn't have such a forward-thinking plan. But to
So
be
smart.
completely honest with you, part of me suspects a little corruption with Gavin Newsom. A little bribery, payoffs if you will. I think he's being funded by the homelessness industrial complex. He is suspiciously attached to its growth. Oh, and of course, California can rest well knowing they're in the altruistic hands of Nancy Pelosi.
Oh gosh. I love his backgrounds. He's got like a bunch of trash in the other picture and now he's just got dumpsters behind him. Oh boy, let's see what he's got to say about her.
California can rest well knowing they're in the altruistic hands of Nancy Pelosi. She demands that people wear a mandatory mask, obviously for their best interest, yet she's caught not wearing a mask at a salon. First off, she didn't mean to get caught. She was
Oh, she
seen on
didn't mean
security
to.
footage not wearing her mask. She never meant for anybody to find out. It was an honest mistake. But I think it proves that wearing a mask is in people's best interest because she wasn't wearing one. She's not behind him just for her own personal power-hungry political agenda.
Oh man. He's so smart.
It either makes her a hypocrite or me a moron. And I don't think she's a hypocrite. Dude, LA's a gem, isn't it? It's more Detroit than Detroit ever was.
Oh my
Mayor Garcetti has
gosh.
transformed it from a disastrous city of beauty and opportunity into one of luxurious despair and poverty.
This is extremely accurate. Now, having lived like an hour and a half from LA, been there many, many times, too many times to count. Spent weekends there, day trips, I know LA pretty well. It has gone downhill so bad. I've lost all interest in going to LA. I could care less. And I used to want to live there. I used to want to move there, especially as a, pursuing a YouTuber. It totally, it totally felt like a place for opportunity and growth and just a place where people grind and are in that area of creativity. And now it has just gone downhill so bad. And this was 2 years ago. Imagine it now, which I was just there a couple months ago. Hated it.
He also deserves a Nobel Prize in tattletaling. Divide your city by trying to get them to snitch on each other for not social distancing.
Love that.
It's a beautiful way of uniting your city. And Garcetti's commitment to ignoring USC's research on coronavirus infection rates and the shockingly low death rate in LA County in order to focus on fictitious numbers that justify his draconian lockdown takes an elite level of talent to turn that much of a blind eye. Out here, our favorite subject is not talking about the pedophile rings in Hollywood, but to combat them, our forward-thinking politicians not being paid off by guilty people just passed a law lessening the punishment for having sex with children. California.
That's funny timing with all the Balenciaga stuff going on right now, which if you don't know what I'm talking about, go look it up. It's interesting. Yeah, the Hollywood is just not okay. There's so much sneaky things that go on there.
Just passed a law lessening the punishment for having sex with children. California is protecting pedophiles. Obviously a great idea because of all the alleged pedophile rings in Hollywood. They all had to go to jail for as long as they deserve. We wouldn't have very good movies to watch. Look at it this way. They're protecting pedophiles from children who want justice. Children can be very predatory. Just thank God California is so progressive. Why are high-profile people like Joe Rogan and Elon Musk moving out of California and taking their businesses with them?
This is smart.
I think it's because they're failures. They're just not a good vibrational match for the success that is the California government. And for the mass exodus of the peasants leaving California, they're just ungrateful and entitled. They just want a safe place to raise their family and acceptable living conditions in a state that's not falling apart. In whatever state they're moving to, I just hope they vote the same way there that they did in California.
Exactly. Don't do that. He's being facetious, but don't do that. If you move somewhere, don't vote like you did in California, you dum-dum.
That way they'll create the same problems that they created in California and drove them to leave the state in their new state. If I had just one suggestion for the governor of California and all the politicians, and this isn't a criticism because they're obviously the best in the world at what they do according to them, it would be this: lean even further in the same direction that you've been going. It's like if you were falling this way, instead of trying to bring yourself upright, you just lean further in the same direction that you're falling. That way you crash into the ground sooner, and when you do, you won't be falling anymore.
So smart.
California logic.
Oh my. Whew, I told you that was going to be hard to watch, and it was, but he is just so freaking genius with his satire. I love it. I love the way he puts things. It is so funny. I mean, it's not funny because it's true and it's just hard topics, but it is funny. He's hilarious. I definitely need to go relax a little bit. That was stressful. But as somebody who did move out of California to get a better life and now loves living in Virginia, if you're ever questioning whether you should move out of California, the answer is yes. You should have done that yesterday. I am so freaking glad that I up and moved. I sold everything I owned. I packed my car. I went by myself, moved out of my hometown for the first time, away from all my family, and moved to Virginia. And I've loved it. Best decision ever. So I highly recommend, if you're in California, go get out. So anyways, shout out to JP. Absolutely go check out his channel if you haven't before. Go show him some love, subscribe, and don't forget to subscribe here. We're almost to 100,000 subscribers. Oh my gosh, this is so crazy. And yeah, thanks for watching, guys. If you have any comments about California, or if you have another JP video you'd like me to check out, please drop it down in the comments. And in case someone's told you today, I love you, God loves you, and peace.